Hi, everyone. It's Brad from the College and Career Center, and I'm here to talk about applying to private, including in California, and out of state public colleges and universities. To research and build your college list, again, this is something I've been working with students since back in the late winter and early spring. But in case you are just getting underway or just need a few more options, here are the factors to think about. The size, in terms of being a large, medium, or small. There are some larger privates, such as USC, Boston University, Northeastern, NYU, and so forth. The setting is urban, suburban, or rural. The geography or weather is a very important factor for students. Either they want perhaps a warmer, oceanside location with palm trees, or a little bit colder, or even very snowy. And that could include the Northwest, the Northeast, the Midwest, and so forth. Major and minor, not all students know what they want to do, and the majority of students go into college undecided. But if you have something that you think you want to study in college, you can pick colleges that are a little bit stronger in that than others. Politics is liberal, moderate, or conservative. Religion, some campuses are religious affiliated, of course, others are not. School spirit, whether you want to go to football games, basketball games, or perhaps you have no interest in that whatsoever. Diversity of races, ethnicities, gender identities, sexual orientations, religions, nationalities, socioeconomic groups. There are many beautiful aspects of diversity, and many colleges have different levels of each one. Next, select about 7 to 10 colleges to which you'd like to apply. And that is a balance of the reaches, targets, and likelies, which we can help you with. And also the strategy of the deadlines, which I'll talk about in a little bit more detail in a moment, which is early action, early decision, rolling, or regular. And just know that the UC and CSU campuses are separate, even if using one application. So it's not so much applying to 7 to 10 colleges as 7 to 10 campuses. And lastly, we have begun to partner a little bit with a company called Score, where I've begun to send out login information to students where they can enter their college list and it automatically selects their deadlines for them, pre-populating those fields and identifying, do these colleges have essays, what kind of transcript do they need, potentially submitting letters of recommendation as well. Okay, a little bit more detail about the types of deadlines. Rolling is great. There's no deadline. Students can submit these. Actually, some already have as far back as September into October, up until the spring, and they're non-binding. So that, in other words, if you're admitted, you don't have to go there. Similarly, early action is also non-binding. It has deadlines in early to mid-November. And then regular decision is the majority of college applications. That is where students apply by January. They wait until they find out by about April. That's also non-binding. Early decision there is in red, and that's not because it's a bad thing. It's just because we want you to have kind of a heads up about it. The deadlines are November 1st to 15th in general, but it's binding. And that's the important thing. So that if you are admitted, you basically agree to attend, the one exception being if the financial aid package does not meet what your family needs. And just to summarize, rolling and early action there in green are recommended. Your chance of admission is often higher, and you just want to be sure that your grades support a November application rather than January. Because sometimes students need to wait until January because they needed a full, strong fall semester worth of grades to increase their application strength. So we just ask you to consult with me or your counselor to talk about that if necessary. Types of applications, about 900 colleges, a little more, are on the common application. They are generally the private colleges in California and outside, as well as some of the out-of-state publics. Just note that TL prefers the common application whenever it is an option. There's also one called the Coalition application. We ask you to use that pretty much only for the University of Washington. And then many colleges, not as many as there used to be, but still a few, have their own applications, and you can see some examples there. Just know that the more types of applications a student needs to fill out, the more time it will take them, because then they also have to fill in again things like name, address, email, phone number, and so forth. Essays and supplements, this is a big part of the application process, and it's actually the most time consuming thing for those colleges that require essays, because they do need some time to think about. I did offer essay workshops back in May as well as in August, and I've had students emailing me basically since May, all throughout the summer into this fall, with links to their Google Docs. And so I am generally turning those around in 24 hours. And this is for the Common App, the UCPIQs. For the Common App, it is 7 prompts. You just choose one with 650 words as your maximum. Non-Common App colleges, they vary. Some have essays and some do not. There are also what are called supplements or supplemental essays. Those can be anything from short answers to up to 650 words. It just really depends on the college. And quite often they ask, why do you want to go here? What do you want to major in? Or random questions like, if you could make a hashtag for yourself, what would it be? Or what are 3 words that you would use to describe yourself? Things like that. College testing. This slide, it's kind of questionable for this year. Most colleges are now test optional, and there are some, I think it's up in the dozens now, that will not even consider test scores. That is called test blind. So many students could not take an ACT or an SAT beginning in March that colleges said, we're not going to force students to do this. Today's October 15th, and if you have not taken an ACT or an SAT, there is a very good chance you will still be unable to. That is why colleges are waiving that requirement. There are some other reasons as well, having to do with obviously health and safety as well as equity. But the stress that goes into it, the test prep, sitting for the exam in a room with other students who, for all you know, are infected, potentially traveling several counties away or even states away, colleges are just saying that is not necessary, and we agree. Subject tests are, many colleges did require these some years ago. For the class of 21, it is still very rare. Similar to the SAT, if you haven't taken one yet, it will be virtually impossible to get one. But typically that was if you wanted to demonstrate additional strength in a particular subject area, like just physics or just French or something along those lines. And then the question, should I send my scores? If you have taken the scores or taken the exams and you're applying to private or out-of-state publics that will consider them, you can send the scores directly to the colleges you're applying to, but just know that most colleges accept self-reported scores, that you do not need to send an official score report until you are admitted to that college and decide to attend that college. Financial aid and scholarships. Just know that your college cost, depends on how long it takes to graduate. So check out 4-year graduation rates versus 5 or 6. The FAFSA and DREAM Act, we just had our financial aid workshop. Those opened October 1st, as well as the CSS profile. Don't wait until March 2nd to submit it. Different kinds of aid, scholarships, grants, work study, and loans. All of this information is on our website, as well as the presentation, which we recorded for the slides. Use net price calculators to figure out what it might cost you. And again, check out our websites as well. And just to summarize a few things, applying to private or out-of-state colleges, gather all of your source materials. This tells you what you will need. I do want to point out for your college application email, students, make sure it is a good one. I don't recommend using your school email address because you graduate and then some colleges follow up after you graduate and they might not be able to reach you. And just double check everything, including your deadlines. Coordinate with your counselor and your recommenders just to make sure that they know when your deadlines are and you tell them which colleges you're applying to. This is what SCORE, SCOIR, will be handy for, because you can keep your list in the same spot that counselors, teachers, and yourself, we can all check, as well as me, and it will have your college list as well as deadlines. Submitting your application, here are some details. Just make sure your essays are answering the right question. Make sure that you give enough detail about yourself to make a compelling application, and submit your applications up to a week before the deadline. Some students do it much longer beforehand, just to be sure things get in well ahead of schedule. And following up, check your emails and college portals daily. Reply to college correspondence just so they know you're out there. And stay on track. We will send you reports for first semester grades, as well as June when you graduate. Keep your grades up if possible. This is a very different year. Normally, we tell students not to get senioritis and check out too soon. We understand that there's a lot of stress and mental health issues going around right now with students. Colleges are aware of that too. So, to the best of your abilities, keep your grades up. If you feel you're struggling, that is what your counselors and myself are here for, to help you. And know that offers of admission are conditional, especially disciplinary issues. If there is a major issue that is reported to a college, that can result in your offer of admission being rescinded. And you formally need to accept your offer of admission by May 1st.